Clean cars for all. It's the new cash for clunkers, and it's just as destructive. There is nothing clean about killing America's car culture, and the war on gas-powered cars is heating up again, and it's being waged through programs that sound helpful on paper, but are destructive in practice. Remember Cash for Clunkers, the 2009 government boondoggle that scrapped nearly 700,000 perfectly good cars in the name of stimulating the economy and cleaning the air? That was under Obama, and it ended up wrecking the used car market and punishing low-income drivers and enriching automakers who were already bailed out by the taxpayers. Now a new version is back with a greenwashed title and a deeper agenda. It's called Clean Cars for All, and it's not just a California thing. It's a nationwide effort to eliminate affordable gasoline-powered vehicles, punish traditional car ownership, and force Americans into EVs that they have stuck on their lots. And they may not want them or can't afford them, and often can't charge them. Now, we thought this nightmare was over with the removal of the electric vehicle mandate, defunding the EV incentive, and lowering gasoline prices. On January 12, 2025, Governor Gavin Newson of California signed an executive order doubling down on the state's commitment to clean cars and trucks. The order updates the state vehicle purchasing requirements and directed the state to craft new actions to accelerate affordable clean vehicle adoption. He also raised the gas prices and put more regulations in place. So how does the new clunker scheme work? Well, California's Clean Cars for All is offered up to $12,000 to Bay Area residents who retire their 2007 or older gasoline-powered vehicles and switch to an electric car, public transit, or even an e-bike. Similar programs in other states go by different names. I love how that each one has a crafty new name. Vehicle replacement program, or drive clean rebate, or mobility options. The fine print is exactly the same. Once you accept the incentive, your vehicle must be destroyed. You cannot sell it, you cannot donate it, and you can't pass it down to a friend or a family member. The car is dismantled, regardless of condition, value, or collectability. This is marketed as a green move, but in reality, it's an attack on working Americans in a thinly veiled push to reshape the car market through forced policy. This is a bad policy disguised as progress. Programs like the Clean Cars for All are promoted as helping low-income drivers. But let's be honest, these policies hurt the very people they claim to help. Here's how. They destroy affordable used cars, reducing options for budget-conscious buyers. They drive up prices by shrinking the used car market and creating an artificial EV demand. And they push rural and suburban drivers, where charging infrastructure is weak and non-existent, into buying something they really don't want. They scrap vehicles that could be used for parts, harming mechanics and independent shops. But I don't think they care. And these grants don't even cover the cost difference between a gasoline-powered vehicle and an EV. And in many cases, drivers still owe tens of thousands of dollars for the vehicles that may not meet their needs, especially in states that are extremely hot or extremely cold, where EV charging plummets. All why public charging remains unreliable and limited. Plus, the increased insurance costs will make it completely unaffordable. This isn't help. This is coercion. California is also now targeting car culture itself. California has always been the beating heart of American car culture, from hot rods to lowriders to drag racing, performance cars, and vintage restoration. The state is the home to many aftermarket custom and performance shops that helped shape the industry, worth billions of dollars. But under Governor Gavin Newsom, that culture is under siege. Newsom and the California Clean Air Resources Board, or CARB, are banning the sale of new gasoline-powered cars after 2035. That's still in play, even with the mandate gone on a federal level. It increases emissions regulations on classic and modified cars, targeting performance parts and aftermarket modifications, discouraging registration of older collectible cars, and using scrapping programs to eliminate enthusiast cars, which really makes me angry. What they can't ban outright, they'll regulate into extinction. And it's not just classic Mustangs or muscle cars on the chopping block. Thousands of perfectly reliable sedans, trucks, and SUVs with many years of life left will be scrapped under the program like the Clean Cars for All, much like Cash for Clunkers did. And these cars could serve young drivers, working families, small businesses, or rural residents. Instead, they're sent to the crusher in the name of climate justice. Don't you love it? Meanwhile, Americans get fewer choices and pay more, and unlike Europe and South America, the US does not import Chinese electric vehicles, which we are not going to get here. In other countries, they're reducing options for their customers as well. They're allowing Chinese vehicles, which come in, which are poorer quality and less expensive because they're being subsidized by the Chinese government. That's not likely to happen here, at least under this administration. Meanwhile, Americans get fewer choices and pay more for each of the vehicles that are available today. Unlike Europe or South America, the US does not import Chinese electric vehicles, well, at least not yet, and I hope they don't. But while our policies make it harder for Americans to buy vehicles they want, China is growing stronger on a global EV stage because of their aggressive government subsidies and export strategies. And it's destroyed the market in many other countries because, in fact, China is flooding the global market with low-cost EVs, and Europe is already imposing tariffs to protect its domestic industry from the aggressive competition, which is a little late because now they've taken over a lot of the German car manufacturing by bringing in their own vehicles. Brazil and Mexico, well, they're also responding, and the U.S. has wisely taken steps to prevent these similar floods here. We really don't want these vehicles here because it will destroy the U.S. car market and impact our economy, and I have covered this in previous videos. While Americans lose access to affordable used cars because of stupid actions like cash for clunkers and clean cars for all, some politicians are forcing a transition that benefits foreign battery manufacturers, undermines our domestic parts industry, and hands future transportation policy to a global supply chain dominated by adversarial nations, China. President Trump has turned this around, but it doesn't happen overnight. We will see the benefit from parts being made here in the US, and that includes batteries and all the rest of the components. It's going to change in the near future. You just need to be patient. Nothing turns quickly in automotive or in politics. In reality, this is more than just about cars. What we're witnessing is environmentalism. It's systematic, behavioral engineering. The goal is to eliminate private car ownership and replace it with top-down transportation systems where your choices are limited, monitored, and taxed. Today, they want to take your 2007 Corolla. Tomorrow, it's your 2022 pickup. Don't think they'll stop with gasoline engines. The very idea of owning your own vehicle, choosing how, when, and where you drive is being reframed as selfish and outdated. This has serious implications. Fewer Americans will be able to afford vehicle ownership. Repair shops and small businesses, they're going to get wiped out, and the collector car and classic restoration industries will collapse. Freedom of movement, especially in rural America, will be restricted. The path forward is to let the market decide. But here's a radical idea. Let people choose the vehicle that best fits their needs, their budget, and their lifestyle. If EVs are truly superior, people will adopt them naturally. They don't need to be forced through mandates, subsidies, and coercive scrapping programs. The free market should determine what technologies win, not state bureaucrats and global agendas. To preserve automotive freedom and consumer choice, you must protect the internal combustion engines alongside ongoing innovation for alternative vehicles and electric vehicles. Access to parts in older vehicles should remain a priority, ensuring that drivers aren't forced to abandon reliable, serviceable cars due to government overreach. It's equally important to defend the right to repair and modify your own vehicle, a cornerstone of American car culture and mechanical independence. California is going after your ability to do that too, and what California does, many other states will follow. We must also push back against forced obsolescence and programs that mandate the scrapping of functioning vehicles under the guise of environmental policy. Real environmental progress should be rooted in practical solutions, not political greenwashing or top-down mandating that eliminates freedom in the name of climate agenda. There is one bright spot in the fight to protect car culture. It's called Leno's Law, a California measure co-sponsored by comedian and car enthusiast Jay Leno, officially known as SB 301. The law is designed to safeguard low-volume and specialty vehicle manufacturing, including hot rod builders, classic car restoration shops, and more. And it allows for a limited number of specially constructed vehicles like custom street rods and kit cars and cool sports cars and some regular cars to be legally registered and operated in California without being subjected to the state's increasingly restrictive emissions laws. Once passed, Leno's Law represents a small but important win for car enthusiasts, preservationists, and the aftermarket industry. It proves that with the right voices and enough pressure, car culture can still be defended, even in a state trying hard to regulate it out of existence. And here's the final gear. Fight for your freedom to drive. Programs like the Clean Cars for All are not about cleaning the air. They're about cleaning the market of anything that doesn't fit into the government-mandated future. Car culture, mechanical knowledge, and the simple joy of owning and driving a vehicle, that's uniquely an American tradition. They're not relics. They are rights. And it's time to stand up and say, we've had enough. Our cars are more than machines. They're symbols of freedom, independence, and identity, and we're not going to give them up. If you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and check out our car review channel, Car Smarts. You can support me by buying me a cup of coffee, and if you want even more content, check out the links in the description. I'm Lauren Fix. Thank you so much for watching.